Good day. We are Group 4, composed of Josh Ngo Ching, Sherwynn Angeles, Sidney Ting, and Gregory Tiong. And today, we are here to discuss the emerging technology of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. But before we start, I want you to first imagine that you are trying to buy off a new iPhone in Shopee during the 11/11 sale with the biggest discounts there is. It's 12 a.m., but you're already pretty tired. Finally, you were able to secure the phone you've been eyeing on for the past month. But upon checking out, you realize that you need to select your payment method. Under online banking, you try to choose BDO, but it is unavailable since it is currently under maintenance. You then decide to go with Metrobank directly, but it is only accessible only from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., so that won't work either. Lastly, with no other choice, you are now very frustrated and are forced to use GCash, costing you an additional 2% fee. You are then able to purchase the item after a lot of drawbacks and inconveniences, and it's already 2 a.m. You then think to yourself, before going to bed, hmm, it's already 2023. Surely there must be an easier way to do this. But is there?
What you just described is actually very relatable. Banks or third party transactions could often fail due to a number of reasons, such as transfer limits, access times, technical and security problems, hack accounts, and more. Sometimes there are even high transaction fees that come with it. And so that's where cryptocurrency comes in. Cryptocurrency, or simply crypto, is essentially a digital currency that is decentralized, using blockchain technology, which is secured through hashing algorithms and cryptography. These features provide more security and benefits than utilizing a bank for transactions. However, before we dive into the different details and specifics of crypto, let us first examine its history and how it became the revolutionary technology it is today. So, guys, what do you think was the first ever crypto? Any guesses?
Um, is it Bitcoin?
Good guess. But contrary to popular belief, there were actually multiple cryptocurrencies before the Bitcoin era. Examples of these are Hashcash, B-Money, BitGold. But the earliest attempt was eCash, which was created during the 1980s by David Chaum and his company DigiCash. But unfortunately, all these would ultimately fail due to a number of reasons such as centralization, the double spending problem, among other factors.
Okay, and I think that's where Bitcoin finally comes in. Let me actually return to your question. Do you know who created Bitcoin? I'll give you a moment to think.
Uh, I'm actually not sure.
It's alright, it's alright. So the answer is I'm actually not too sure either. You see, in 2008, an anonymous person who went under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto released the Bitcoin white paper in 2008 and the Bitcoin as an open source software in 2009. Bitcoin was created to be a digital payment system that is fully peer to peer without the need of an intermediary when making digital transactions. It is the first digital currency to solve the double spending problem without the need of a trusted authority or even a central server.
Finally, on January 3, 2009, the first block of the blockchain, named the Genesis block, was mined by Nakamoto. This contains the message, the Times 3 January 2009 Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Initially, there was no buying and selling of Bitcoin, and you could only get more of this currency by mining using your own GPUs or conducting P2P trade. However, in October 2009, Bitcoin's monetary value started when a student sold 50/50 coins for around 415 Indian rupees, which took place using PayPal.
That's pretty cool actually.
If you think that's cool, check this out. The first ever real-world Bitcoin transaction happened in 2010 when 10,000 Bitcoins was exchanged for two pizzas. This was arguably the pioneering transaction that would change Bitcoin forever. Considering the current value of Bitcoin today, this amount is worth roughly 19 billion pesos at the time of taking this video.
Because of this, there were multiple exchanges created wherein people could now buy and sell Bitcoin. One of the earliest exchanges was the Magic, the Gathering Online Exchange or Mt. Gox in 2010, which at one point held more than 70% of Bitcoin transactions worldwide. This infamous exchange experienced the first major hack and breach in the world of cryptocurrency, wherein about 840,000 Bitcoin, amounting to around $615 million was lost. Other famous exchanges today, such as Binance, Bitfinex, Poloniex, KuCoin, and more, were also hacked at some point in history.
Cryptocurrency has gone through significant periods of growth, leading people to recognize its potential and capabilities. This growth has resulted in the introduction of new projects, altcoins, which are alternative cryptocurrencies to bitcoins. The growth of new exchanges caused a remarkable upsurge in the cryptocurrency trend, where Bitcoin reigned supreme, as seen in its current value of approximately 1.9 million pesos for one Bitcoin.
Oh, I've also heard that various countries have since then recognized the useful and dangerous implications of cryptocurrencies. Some countries like El Salvador embraced it as an official currency, while China and Saudi Arabia have chosen to prohibit its use. Regardless of the application, whether it's for NFTs, gaming, transactions, or even illegal activities, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies seem to have a profound influence on our society today. But how does Bitcoin work exactly?
To understand Bitcoin, we must first understand what it is based on, which is actually blockchain technology. The blockchain is decentralized, meaning it's not owned by anyone, anything, or even any group. It's like the internet. Nobody really owns nor controls it. Rather, control and authority of Bitcoin is distributed across a network of nodes or participants in a network, allowing it to exist even without a central authority. Kind of bizarre, right? Since control is not centered on a single device or node, that actually makes it very difficult for people to hack the network, improving security and effectively making it a trustless system.
What do we mean by trustless?
Well, there's a phrase often said in crypto space: don't trust, verify. Imagine making a transaction with a complete stranger and he tells you that he already sent you 100 bitcoins in exchange for your house. A whole house is not something that you can easily let go of. So rather than just trusting his word, you can simply verify on your own that he did send you the 100 bitcoins for your house by checking his and your wallet address, ensuring that everything adds up correctly. This makes cryptocurrencies an ideal means of performing transactions for some. If someone tries to hack, double spend, or alter the data, they will need to take control of the majority of the nodes in the network. This is actually known as a 51% attack, which is very difficult if not impossible in most cases.
The term blockchain is derived from the fact that these digital transactions are inscribed in unique blocks which are similar to databases. When new transactions take place, new blocks are created, and these blocks take reference from previous blocks in the chain. This chain of blocks is known as the ledger, and it is publicly distributed among nodes in a network. Since the ledger is made public, all nodes in a network have a copy of all the transactions, which allow them to easily flag transactions as invalid if ever one has been altered, keeping the blockchain secure. Additionally, previous blocks cannot be altered, since this would change the values of succeeding blocks. Transactions also utilize the concept of the consensus mechanism, which is a protocol to validate these transactions, wherein all the different nodes must synchronize and come into an agreement on the block's data and state in real time. Only then will the block be recorded onto the blockchain.
New blocks are created through a process called mining, which involves solving a complex mathematical problem. A Bitcoin block contains the following fields: its version, timestamp, a difficulty target which dictates the amount of power required to mine a new block, the previous block's hash, the Merkle root containing the hash of all transactions stored on the block, and a random string called a nonce that is appended to the block to produce a hash. To successfully mine a block, the output hash must satisfy a criteria dictated by the current network difficulty target. Though this process may sound complex, it has allowed for efficient verification of transactions and ensuring the integrity and continuity of the blockchain. In the context of Bitcoin, which uses proof of work as its consensus mechanism, miners are rewarded with Bitcoin as an incentive for successfully guessing the correct nonce to mine blocks. However, only the first node to mine the block is rewarded.
Wait, really? Does that mean even I can start mining and earning money?
Well, I'm not really sure you could say that, since these computers need to be very powerful. In fact, there are even computers that exist for the sole purpose of mining.
Yeah, it's true that this process is very computationally expensive. In 2022, the University of Cambridge and Digi economists estimated that the two largest proof-of-work blockchains, Bitcoin and Ethereum, use twice as much electricity in 1 year as the entire country of Sweden. This is why Ethereum 2.0 is transitioning to using a much less computationally expensive proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, where nodes are selected based on the amount of stake or cryptocurrency tokens they placed. This stake can be destroyed in case of malicious activity.
Okay. So how exactly does the mining process work?
That's a good question. It starts with, I'd say, the hashing function. It's actually a mathematical function that accepts an input to produce a fixed length string. Bitcoin, in particular, uses a hashing function known as SHA-256. This hashing function is not always the same between cryptocurrencies. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm curious. What hashing functions do you guys use?
I use script.
I actually use a unique hashing function known as ethash, which is made just for Ethereum.
What's the hashing function for?
Oh, I've heard about hashing functions. They are generally functions used to encrypt the data of your transactions, as well as verify that they have not been tampered with. These transactions are then secured using cryptographic key pairs involving a public and a private key. These keys are associated with your cryptocurrency wallet and do not change. The public key is, well, public to all nodes in a network. It's like your home address, allowing other nodes to send funds to you. On the other hand, the private key is like the actual key to your home. And so, this must be kept, well, private and protected at all costs. Interestingly enough, through a mathematical algorithm, the public key is actually derived from the private key, but it is infeasible to derive the private key from the public key. The keys are derived from an algorithm known as the elliptic curve multiplication, and it is a one-way cryptographic function that is extremely helpful in ensuring security in the blockchain.
Okay. That actually sounds like a lot of math.
It is actually. And using the private key, transactions made from a sender can be authenticated through a digital signature, serving as proof that the transaction indeed came from you. The receiver of the transaction is addressed via the receiver's public key. And once the transaction is broadcasted to the network, other nodes in the network will verify your digital signature on the transaction using your public key. Once successfully verified, the transaction is permanently added into the blockchain, signifying that the transaction is indeed valid, and so all nodes are updated with the ledger. Finally, the receiver can access the funds of the transaction by decrypting it with their own private key, completing the transaction.
That's actually pretty neat. After clearing up on how exactly crypto or Bitcoin works, in what ways are these actually implemented? Where are cryptocurrencies used in the real world?
Before we tackle these questions, we first need to understand the concept of tokens.
So, what are they?
Tokens are digital assets that exist within their own blockchains, such as Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, or other smart contract-enabled blockchains. These tokens are essentially smart contracts that adhere to the rules and standards of the host blockchain. Although there are many types of tokens, one of the most recently popularized token types is the non-fungible token, or NFT, which are used to signify true ownership of a specific digital or physical asset. They are used in a variety of purposes, such as art, gaming, or even as collectibles.
Oh, yeah, I've even heard about this thing called the NBA Top Shot. It's an NFT marketplace existing in the blockchain where sports fans can buy, sell, and trade officially licensed digital collectibles of their favorite basketball moments. Kinda like trading cards but in video form. In fact, back in February 2021, one of these moments depicting a clip of LeBron James dunking on the Sacramento Kings Nemanja Bjelica even sold for $208,000.
That's actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. It's interesting to see the many creative ways the blockchain can be utilized for conducting pretty much any form of transactions. Even with the more widely known Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, people can take advantage of investment opportunities through their tokens and earn benefits for being in possession of one, such as member only benefits.
Yeah, that actually is pretty interesting. And that's only some of the implementations of crypto in the real world. Although blockchain still has a long way to go before becoming a norm, it's still interesting to see the creative ways creators aim to lower the barriers to entry for the general public into the world of blockchain. We can only speculate what the future possibly holds for this. And, well, I guess that's all the time we have for today. We hope you learned a thing or two from our short presentation on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and the blockchain. So, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye!
Bye!